It's needed in my profession as a world-class crime solver. I stayed away from the busy malls as I have a phobia of over-engineered buildings. My doctor calls it a complex.
True story.
My name is Vic, Victorious, and this is my trusted sidekick, Ella Watson, short for elementary, my dear Watson. I have quite the reputation in this part of the county as a detective who almost always gets to the bottom of a mystery. I don't have to say it about myself, others say it for me. You know, I haven't had a legitimate case in a while, although I did have one client contact me about a robbery at a local dairy farm. Disappearing blocks of cheese, he said. Due to my lactose intolerance, I couldn't take the case, so I had to refer him to my private-eye friend, who is a certified cheese detective. He couldn't take the case, said he only takes jobs by a queso basis. So here I was, 4 days before Christmas, and the call came in. I was summoned to Pine Valley Church due to a huge dilemma. Their church secretary, a lady named Barb Dwyer, called me and was frantic. Said she had an emergency that required my expertise. Without giving me too many details, she just asked simply that I would be there immediately. I was hoping it wasn't like my case a couple of years ago involving a petty thief. When confronted, he ran right out the door, ran right into wet cement. A few days later, he was a hardened criminal. I have obviously stumbled into a scene of a horrific crime, enough to turn one's stomach.
Surely you aren't the detective.
I'm not? Then who am I? And unfortunately, my name's not Shirley.
Shirley? No, I meant... Never mind. Let me rephrase that. Are you the detective that I called this morning?
Yes, ma'am. Detective Victorious at your service.
Well, detective, does this scene bother you?
Not at all, ma'am. I'm a trained professional. I've seen it all.
Not this, you haven't.
Let's see. Tell me what has happened here.
Well, I came into the office this morning...
And you are?
Talking.
Mrs. Talking. That's not name. Is it Western European?
That's not my name, you ninny. I just meant... Never mind. I'm the one that called you this morning. I'm Barb Dwyer. I'm the church secretary and have been for over 17 years.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Anyway, as I was saying, I came into my office this morning and it was gone.
Your office was gone? How is that even possible?
Not my office. That.
Not that. What exactly is that?
Look at the outline, detective. It's our antique grand piano.
I see. You must be very fond of it as you refer to it as grand.
It's grand, forget it. The piano is gone. Now who could have possibly taken this beautiful instrument?
Have you been in Pine Valley a long time?
Most of my life. My twin sister and I graduated from Pine Valley High.
I see. Is there anyone in particular you might want to steal this piano?
Oh, there's plenty of guilt to go around. This church is filled with questionable characters.
I see.
Oh, there's the phone ringing. I've got to go grab that. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. This is eerily similar to the interrogation of the watchmaker that I accused of murder. I can remember him looking at him and saying, "Listen here, Mr. Watchmaker, I know what makes you tick, therefore I know what makes you talk." What's this? Potential suspect list. Okay, names and phone numbers on here. How convenient. Well, I ought to go to the office right away to call these people and get them here for questioning. The first 48 hours is crucial to solving a crime of this magnitude. I'll just sneak right away and call them right away.
Well, I see you found my helpful little list. It's got to be one of the names on that list. Our piano was gone, and only days before our classical Christmas musical, someone wanted to stop that event. Wonder if he heard me. We'll see if Lordy Fife can help us find the culprit. Or maybe I need to help him along a little bit.
Oh, there you are, Bob. I was just looking for you in the office. Oh my goodness, the grand piano, it's gone. Well, where is it?
Really, Pastor? You don't know where it is?
Well, of course not. We're taking it from here.
Are you sure you don't know?
Well, I'm not sure. I like the accusing tone in your voice.
Accusing tone?
Well, anyways, you must have loved that old piano, Bob. I stopped by I came by a couple of weeks ago and I stopped my day off. I overheard you playing that very piano.
And why were you here on your day off?
Oh, I just stopped by to get a book from the office and I heard music. So I came down here and peeked through the door, but I didn't want to disturb you.
Well, I didn't see you.
Oh, it's no big deal, really. But you know, you are quite good. Now, why don't you play for our church?
It's a long story, Pastor Sutton, and awfully personal. I wouldn't want to bore you.
Oh, well, I'd love to hear it someday. You can trust me after all.
I can trust no one.
Now, what was that?
Oh, nothing. Sometimes I mumble a little, that's all.
Oh, you're back, Mrs. Talking.
I'll explain later.
And we have a new person here. Who might you be?
Well, I'm Pastor Sutton. Oliver Sutton.
Pastor Oliver Sutton.
This is our new pastor. He's been here about 2 months, new to the community.
Pastor Oliver Sutton recently arrived. Well, my name is Victorious.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. You know, you look so familiar.
I wonder what? Maybe you've seen me coming in and out of my housing development just a few miles from here. It's built for strictly for crime solvers like myself. It's called Sherlock Holmes. Let's just say it's my legal pad. Anyway, Pastor Sutton, I've called a couple of potential suspects and they're on their way. I have to call the rest when they arrive or reconvene.
You called a private investigator? Now, why not call the police?
To be honest, I'm not sure who to trust. A small town police force could start talking and cause our thief to run.
And Victorious is the answer.
We'll see.
And what's this about a suspects list? Now, if he just got here, how in the world he got a list of suspects?
Gee, Pastor Sutton, I guess
Oh my gravy! What is happening here? I got a call from a private detective who told me to be here at minute because it's gone. Our Broslin's antique grand piano is gone.
Oh my goodness, she's fainting.
Yeah, you're new here. Anne faints on command, her own command, like one of those fainting goats. The least little bit of stress, and down she goes. And every time you ask her why she passed out, she says, I haven't the finest idea.
Well, now we just gonna leave her lying there on the floor?
As tempting as that would be, anyway, she's not known for extended faints. She should come to in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my gravy! That antique grand piano is gone.
Yes, Anne, the piano has been stolen. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Me? Now why would I know anything about that? I'm as confused as a turtle on the center stripe of the highway.
Well, Miss Antiquity, antique dealer, we do have reason to suspect you.
Now, barbed wire, how dare you accuse me of criminal activity? I don't even know what's going on here. I'm as lost as last year's Easter egg.
Oh, cut the innocent routine, Ellie Mae. Everybody knows what you think of that piano.
Well, yeah, I love that piano.
Precisely.
And it's just days before Christmas. What about our classical Christmas musical?
Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you...
Well, now, ladies, this ain't getting us nowhere. Now, why don't we just go back down to the church for you and wait for the rest of the suspects from the suspect list to arrive?
Yeah, suspect list. Let's do that. Let's go wait in the foyer.
There, all the suspects have been contacted. Each one expressed a combination of bewilderment, shock, and nervousness. This is not going to be an easy case to solve. Reminds me of a case of the time that I caught the librarian stealing. She had a book thrown at her. The judge placed her in a 4-story jail. So let's review what we know. Pine Valley Church has its annual classical Christmas musical in a couple days. Mysteriously, the church piano that Secretary Barb Dwyer referred to as grand has gone missing. Not an easy task. Then Miss Dwyer called me to ask for help. I arrived at Pine Valley Church and met Miss Barb Dwyer, who seemed distraught over the missing instrument. Coincidentally, I found this list of potential suspects lying on the floor. Names and phone numbers were listed as well. How convenient. I met then Pastor Oliver Sutton. He's new to the community, so I'm not sure how he stands on this right now. And before walking out here, I overheard the tension between Antiquity and Barb Dwyer. Antiquity arrived in record time, making me wonder about her proximity to church when she received my call. Maybe I'll just take a seat and perhaps one of them will give themselves away. They'll be arriving any minute now. This is almost as tense as the dry cleaner that I caught money laundering.
True story.
Hey, yeah, it's me. Yeah, Ann and Bob are down there waiting for the last suspect to arrive right now. Yeah, all this is so crazy. It's only my third month here, and the historical grand piano's missing. Yeah, I know they're just going to think it's me, because I'm new here, and I don't think they're much like me anyways. I'm the 47th pastor this church has had in the last 46 years. Yeah, they ain't necessarily known for pastoral care here. And I just know they're going to try to find me guilty of this somehow. But what can I do about it? It certainly isn't how I seen the Christmas season unfold. Now, don't you go down there in that garage now. I got some Christmas gifts here. Yeah, Christmas gifts. That's what's... Oh, I think I hear him coming. I gotta go.
Oh, I think he could be in here. Oh, there you are, Pastor Sutton. Why, you left faster than a pack of Oreos at a Weight Watchers meeting.
That's pretty fast.
So I brought Jess in here with me.
Hey, Pastor, I don't know if you remember me. My name is Jess Turd. I'm in the youth group.
Oh, you on the drama team too, ain't you?
Yes, sir.
So, Pastor, why are you in here all by yourself?
Oh, I just wanted some alone time in the sanctuary before everybody showed up. Yeah, I just sitting there thinking about the Christmas musical and all.
It's sad, isn't it? We were just days before our last rehearsal, and then poof! Our valuable antique grand piano has disappeared. I mean, it's going to be impossible to have our musical without that piano.
Yeah, because we certainly wouldn't want to ruin the classical Christmas musical with anything not covered in mothballs and reeking of centuries past.
Okay, you listen here, youngin. We have traditions here at Pine Valley Church. Traditions like our classical Christmas musical, and we certainly don't need whippersnappers like yourself bringing in your adolescent holiday ideas such as drama. Maybe you and your hooligan dramatic friends know something about this crime.
Okay, so I'm the youth group drama team leader. That doesn't mean I stole your old junky piano.
Old and junky!
Now, you know, Bob says she faints like it's quite often.
Whenever she doesn't get her way. Listen, Pastor, it's no secret that I wanted to include drama in this year's Christmas musical, but I absolutely did not.
We're here. Passed out again, huh? Which one of you said something she didn't like?
Me, I said something about the missing piano.
Old and junky. You called it old and junky. She's back. Ready for your close-up, Miss Tickly? You know, Barb Dwyer, you're about as useful as a trapdoor on a canoe.
That's not really useful.
Listen here, you wacky fake.
No, ladies. You know, we ain't gonna get nowhere we keep fighting like this.
So, it really is gone. Well, obviously. It's such a shame, even though the high beat flat key hasn't worked for quite some time. We've been meaning to get that checked out. Does anybody know how much the piano is worth?
Well, I do. I mean, it is quite the collector's item.
I'm sure you both do. You, Miss Tickwitty, because you're an antique dealer, who I might add has been wanting to purchase that piano for years. And you, saving money, as the church treasurer, you know how desperate we are for funds. And what better way to get those?
Hold it right there, Barb. Are you insinuating that I did something questionable here?
If the shoe fits.
Alright, what's all the commotion? Some crazy investigator told me to drive my truck all the way down here.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Fred. Fred A. Liver. I drive for LDS.
You're a Mormon truck driver?
No, not that LDS. Leisurely Delivery Service.
Yeah, their motto is, we'll get there when we feel like it.
Pretty catchy, ain't it?
Well, anyway, we're all here, so where's the detective?
Is there even a detective?
Yeah, and how do I know that the call I got was from an actual detective?
Because I'm the detective that called you.
Oh my gravy!
Any of you folks gonna help her?
No worries, this happens all the time.
I'm Detective Victorious. Never made a case I couldn't solve. Well, except that one case involving a robbery at a downtown parking garage. That was wrong on so many levels. Anyway, I think I have made a determination in this case.
What's that, detective?
One of you stole the piano.
Not just a piano, an antique grand piano.
It's remarkable how quickly she comes back to life.
Well, listen here, Magnesium PI. I think we already knew that.
What we did?
Based on what evidence?
This mysterious suspect list.
A mysterious suspect list? Where in the world did you get that?
I mean, I found it on the floor earlier.
Let me see that. Why, Mr. Detective, this is not so mysterious. Why, this is Barb Dwyer's handwriting. I can tell by how hard she presses down on that pencil with all that anger.
Well, now, is this true, Bob?
Yes, it's true. I wrote that list down and I dropped it in a place where he would find it, and he did.
And weren't you the one who called him in the first place?
Yeah, and you obviously went with the bumbling, easily confused detective. Coincidence?
I think not.
Trust me, I had no clue how dim-witted he was when I called him.
This is true. She had no way of knowing.
Wait, so how in the world did I get on that list? I don't even go to Pine Valley Church. I go to New Day Community Fellowship.
I bet you they're okay with drama in church.
Actually, we are. Last year at Easter, we had angels repelling from the rafters as the stone door rolled away from the temple.
Okay, people, can we just get back to the problem at hand? Barb Dwyer created a suspect list and all of us are on it.
And you're on it because you made a delivery here yesterday afternoon.
I make a delivery here almost every afternoon.
Precisely.
What does that mean?
Are you implying that I'm guilty?
Well, no, I'm just implying that everyone has a reason to be included.
I knew it.
And so do you, Miss Dwyer. Every single one of you remains a suspect until we get a little bit more information.
And you thought by writing the list, you were going to get away with this. I'm telling you, Barb, you're lower than a snake's belly in a wagon's rut.
What does that even mean? And you're not even from the South. What's with the quaint sayings?
Well, I think it's best if we take a few minutes to calm down, and then we can continue uncovering the evidence.
Well, I'm on break right now, so I got another 2 or 3 hours.
A 2 to 3 hour break?
No wonder our packages are always late.
Well, before we reconvene, I want you all to consider one question. Who do you think stole the antique piano? Think about the motive for such a crime. We'll be back here in 5 minutes. Oh, one last thing. Think about that question without discussing it with anyone else. Sometimes the key of solving a mystery is to get a little perspective of all the possible suspects. One of them may know something that no one else does. Pine Valley Church is about to find out who stole their antique piano and why. I'll never forget the short fortune teller who escaped from prison. I spent days tracking a small, medium, and large. So, here we are, all the persons of the Pine Valley Mystery in this room. Someone stole the antique grand piano. Why? Why did someone do so right before Christmas? This is such an emotional time of year. You either love this holiday season and anticipate it all year long, or dread it due to the lost memories that surround the day. Either way, someone had an emotionally charged reason to steal this piano. Emotionally charged reason indeed. It's like the headline I read in the Pine Valley Chronicle the other day. Energizer Bunny arrested, charged with battery.
Alright, enough of your rambling. I think anyone in this room could have stolen that piano, but if you ask me, it was Antiquity.
Me? I think I need her on my drama team.
And why do you think it was Miss Antiquity?
Really? She's an antique dealer. She's always talking about the value of that piano. On one occasion, even said we were ruining it by constant use, said it should be in a museum. But if you ask me, she wanted it for her own personal collection. And then, when you consider her great-grandfather,
Leave Grandpa Earl out of this.
Grandpa Earl?
Yeah, my great-grandfather, Earl E. Bird.
and I happen to know about the relationship that Earl E. Bird has to that piano. What do you mean by that? Her great-grandfather Earl was the original owner to that antique piano.
And how did you find that out?
Last week I was bringing a hymnal back and went to lay it on the piano. Noticed some writing on the piano. There it was. His signature, Earl E. Bird.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true. My gravy, it's true. Grandpa Earl E. Bird bought that piano long ago.
So her great-grandfather owned the piano a long time ago. Big deal.
Okay, it's not that interesting until you realize that piano is the very reason she became an antique dealer.
To eventually get the piano back?
That's a little far-fetched.
So Grandpa Earl E. Bird once owned the piano, and Miss Antiquity wanted it back. Why?
Because it's mine!
Did I say that out loud?
Sure did.
Okay, but it doesn't mean that I would still to get it. I mean, I'm the God-fearing member of Pine Valley Church, and in the holiest seasons, if you ask me, it will save you money.
How did the attention suddenly get to me?
You didn't want that to happen, did you?
What do you mean by that?
I mean that everybody at Pine Valley Church knows as treasurer, you've been worried about our finances.
And what does the piano have to do with that?
Save you money. Did you or did you not recently enter my antique shop and inquire about the value of that piano?
I did, but
And were you or were you not shocked at the estimated value?
I was, but
And is it not true that the very next day you insured the piano?
Wait, you insured the piano?
Who insures a piano?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Is that true?
yes, it's true. I insured the piano.
Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, I thought that fit right there.
I was looking out for the best interests of Pine Valley Church.
What, by not telling anybody that you insured it?
I was going to, we just haven't had a board meeting since then.
And who is the beneficiary of that policy?
That's none of your business, Miss Antiquity.
But as pastor of this here church, it's mine.
Miss Savia, I think you ought to answer that question.
I am. I'm the beneficiary.
The second, why would you go do that?
Yeah, why, Savia? Why would you take out an insurance policy on a piano? Why would you not tell anyone? And why would you name yourself as the sole beneficiary?
I was going to get it transferred over to the name of the church at the next board meeting. But what about Antiquity and her great-grandfather, Early Bird?
Leave Grandpa Earl out of this.
I gave you my answer. What I want to know is why no one is accusing Pastor all of a sudden.
The pastor?
Think about it. What do we really know about this guy? I mean, he just moved here a couple months ago from Wyoming.
What does Wyoming have to do with it?
I don't know, but it's far away. For all we know, he could be a world-class thief.
Yes, a world-class piano thief.
Is there such a thing?
I mean, I once arrested a piano player. Oh, really? What happened? You got in trouble.
Well, this is ridiculous. We came here to serve Pine Valley Church.
But when I went to the insurance agent, he said he had met your wife. And he also thought it was a great conversational item to tell me that she told him that she used to play the piano. Why does she no longer play the piano, Pastor Sutton?
Well, now this is absurd.
Why does she no longer play piano, Pastor Sutton?
Well, it's going to sound incriminating.
Is it incriminating?
Very well. She doesn't play the piano anymore because we had to leave it when we was during the move. We couldn't afford to bring it.
That reminds me. I delivered to the music store in downtown Pine Valley. I was talking to the manager there. And he told me that there was a local pastor looking around for a piano for his wife for Christmas. Was that you?
Yes, that was me. I was looking to see if I could find another piano to replace hers. Oh, what a wonderful Christmas gift it would be if I could just get her another.
And Pastor Sutton's daughter is on my drama team. She said that it was a Christmas tradition that her entire family sit around the piano and sing Christmas carols on Christmas Eve.
Maybe you were getting this piano just in time.
Certainly sounds suspicious to me.
It sounds suspicious.
And isn't it interesting that Pastor Sutton often seems confused behind the pulpit?
As if he's not used to preaching at all.
Now you hold on right there. So now my preaching quality makes me guilty. I think what all y'all need to do is stop accusing me and start thinking about someone else in this room. Because ain't none of y'all considering Miss Bob Wyatt.
Now, hold it right there, preacher.
Yeah. Why would you randomly shout out Barb's name? Yeah, why would she call the investigator if she's the one that sold the piano?
Well, maybe we should be asking why she would create a list with all our names on it and then purposely drop it on the floor so Mr. Detective Vic could find it.
Yeah, that's bothering me too. Why would you do that, Barb?
Seriously? You're all gonna blame me?
Just answer the detective's question, Barb, darling.
Fine. I created a list based on who I thought could have stolen the piano. All of you have motive. I don't. Saving money wanted the insurance money. Pastor Oliver Sutton wanted a piano for his wife. And Antiquity
Has always gotten in your way.
I think you're doing all of this on purpose to make me look bad. You've already publicly accused me.
And wasn't it Antiquity who beat you out for president of the Pine Valley Ladies Guild a couple years ago?
I forgot about that.
Pine Valley's ladies.
It's the oldest, most prestigious social organization in town.
Sounds to me like somebody still resents that.
Yes, I do, drama queen. I wanted that position badly. A woman from my family held that position for over 75 years.
And Miss Tickley dethroned your family.
Exactly. Okay, sure. I've been angry about that for a long time. But to insinuate that I would steal my own church's piano to get back at her is ridiculous.
Is it, Miss Dwyer?
And it's worth noting that Miss Dwyer plays the piano.
She does?
Oh.
I had no idea.
Oh, yes, she does. I came by one day and I heard her play. I looked in the sanctuary and I believe you was playing the song, It Is Well.
Care to explain, Barb?
Yes, I can play the piano. I used to play here long ago. I used to love playing the piano, but once the modern style of music came into church, I just couldn't bring myself to be a part of it. So long before any of you attended Pine Valley Church, I stopped playing publicly and only do so privately now.
Well, stranger things have happened.
They certainly have.
Well, maybe you did it, Fred A. Delivery.
Mickey, what?
The Mormon delivery man?
Okay, once again, that's not what LDS stands for.
It is the Latter-day Saints.
But that's not the same thing.
Okay, so you're not a Mormon, but you work for them?
Oh, okay, just forget it.
So why would Miss Dwyer accuse Fred of such a crime? Anyone have any ideas?
I think she said it so we'd stop looking at her.
Actually, speaking of Stranger Things, when I was walking home from school yesterday afternoon, I saw Fred A. Livery getting into his truck here at the church.
I know what you're talking about. He had parked his truck in town, probably right after that. The door had popped open and it was really shadowy in there, but there was a huge item covered in a black blanket of some sort.
Like a piano cover?
Are you people serious? I drive a delivery truck. I haul heavy items.
This is true. It's not unusual for an LDS driver to carry such heavy loads.
Wait a minute, I just remembered something. I had a local clergy luncheon last week, and his pastor told me they were looking for a new keyboard.
Yeah, a new keyboard, but not an old relic like that.
Old relic?
Yeah, our church is a much more contemporary church.
Wait a minute. Why would you call it an old relic? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I have.
That doesn't mean you should call it a relic.
Well, it had a couple serious scratches on it.
Aha! How'd you know that?
Because I saw it the other day.
Yeah, you deliver packages to the office, but that's on the other side of the building.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I had a delivery here that needed a signature, and somebody wasn't in their office. So I went down the hallway, hollering out for names, and nobody was answering me, and I ended up in the sanctuary, and I saw it there.
And that quick glance allowed you to see several scratches?
Well, I'm observant. It's part of my job. And plus, if I stole the piano, everybody would know that I stole it because we all live in the same small town.
But you could sell it. You deliver all over the county. It would be easy for you to sell it, make the money, take it, and buy the new keyboard.
Oh, and then everybody would leave our church and go to yours.
Leave Grandpa Earl out of this.
Nobody mentioned Earl.
Okay, so I had a heavy truck. That's not unusual.
But it was still full when I was walking home from school yesterday.
Okay, hang on. Why is nobody blaming the teenager? I mean, she's on that list for a reason too.
Yeah, why am I on the list?
Because you wanted drama in a Christmas musical.
And you actually threatened to somehow stop the musical if we didn't break from tradition and try something new.
Oh, I remember that. She seemed quite agitated.
Seriously? I stole a whole piano because you old people wouldn't put drama in the Christmas program?
Well, I think it is highly likely. Your generation is out of control.
Okay, feigning lady, we're the ones that are out of control. Yes, I said some of those things, but threaten is a strong word. And yes, I was very upset about not having drama in the Christmas program. Again, this happens every year. The youth group never gets to participate in anything on Sundays. And the drama team just wanted you guys to know how much we believe in what we do. We just wanted an opportunity to participate in the story of Christmas.
And you know, stealing a piano, that might get our attention.
And she's got the whole group to do it. You put that whole youth group together, they could move that piano anywhere they wanted to.
We're a bunch of teenagers with spaghetti arms. Do you really think that happened?
Well, whatever. I still think
Okay. Let's review the facts. Barbed Wire had motive to steal the piano as an act of revenge against Miss Antiquity. She definitely had opportunity as she's in the church when no one else is. Fred A.'s Delivery's church needs a piano. Did he get someone to help him load the piano in his truck, sell it out of town, take the money, and buy a new keyboard for their church just in time for the Christmas event? Or maybe Antiquity wanted to keep the precious piano in her family to honor her great-grandfather, Earl E. Bird. She would certainly have access to a moving crew as she moves antiques often. And church treasurer, Save Ya Money, is on this list based solely on the fact she took out an insurance policy and made herself the sole beneficiary. She would benefit greatly at its disappearance. And then there's Jess Churd, the youth group drama team leader, who's admittedly angry every year that the Christmas program is not done their way. Did she manage to get her and her friends together and move the piano so that Christmas could be done their way? It's all very interesting. Then, of course, you have Pastor Oliver Sutton, whose wife had to leave the piano in Wyoming when they moved here. Did he manage to get it to their house just in time for Christmas? This is all very interesting. Isn't it going to be an easy one to solve? It's kind of like that time I caught a guy throwing a bowl of Jell-O at his wife. He was charged with carrying a congealed weapon. But the real question is, who do you think stole the antique grand piano?
It's me again, Carmen Go. This one isn't an easy one to solve, is it? But please, let us know who you think committed the crime. Outside at our doors here, as you exit, we're going to have Detective Victorious and Ella Watson. We're going to have some ballots for you guys. The suspects are going to be lined up outside in the foyer, and they are going to be holding some kind of item for you to put your ballot in their item, and then we'll tally those at the end of our little intermission here. We're going to take about 15 minutes, I believe is what we have, right? Also during this time, you can have your bathroom breaks, and we have refreshments in the kitchen that are individually wrapped snacks and some waters and stuff for you guys. So hopefully this case is not going to be like his last one. That one was about a donut thief and it was full of holes. So, true story. We'll let you know when you decided whenever you come back in about 15 minutes.
So you gotta put this in the guilty. You gotta put that in the guilty party's eye.
Where'd you get all your jingles?
Hey, jingle ladies, y'all go by it. So you take this and you
The pastors are always guilty, so I was like, what's this point? No, pastors are always guilty.
The preacher is always guilty.
Pastors are always guilty. That's what I think, always the pastor.
There you go. You just gotta put it in his, I think he's got a Bible. Yeah, he's wearing a Tennessee shirt.
Alright.
How are you? They got something you gotta put in there. Papers are sticking together. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this paper and put it in. You're gonna take it and you're gonna tell them that you think they're wrong, and then we're gonna get the total number. Hopefully y'all know what he's doing. Yeah. And then I think we got two more. I got you two more.
They have something.
There you go. Then you just put them in, whoever's out and you have, just put them, telling them that you think they're getting caught. There you go. Here, I'll put yours in. You can tell me who you think is yours. Secretary, which one do you want me to put in? Before going on, I watched this demon. I went down in my apartment on 58. I was like, it's racing. Just because I felt like I got a headache. I would, but it's got everything in there.
Okay, so the phone, the Wi-Fi messed up. And with the neighbor's phone, once I tapped it, and I'm like, just spin it.
Yeah, I got you.
Actually, standing right here. I don't need her. Oh, really? I got crazy. I got all kinds of houses. Yes. I don't eat my whole lot of sweets. I understand. Everybody get voted?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get to find out who stole the antique grand piano here at Pine Valley Church. I'm so glad to be here for the revealing of that. Your voting results are in, and in last place, we have a three-way tie with 3 votes apiece. That is Gesture, Antiquity, and Fred A. Deliverance. I'm pretty certain that y'all are pretty sure that they did not do it. In next place, we have Save Your Money with 9 votes, and then Barbed Wire with 11 votes. And y'all are pretty confident that Pastor Oliver Sutton is the one that committed this crime with 16 votes. Doesn't look pretty good to send in court at the pastor here. It is bad. So now is the time to see if you were right and if your detective skills were good. I think I hear Detective Victorious coming now.
All right. I've called you all back together. It's taking some serious detective work, but I think I have successfully cracked this case. It's similar to the case I had several years ago. It was about this time of year, I believe. January, I think. I was going around town and I caught a guy stealing calendars. He got 12 months.
And like I said, there should be no doubt to any of you, Antiquity did it.
All because of her antique business.
Oh my gravy!
This has gotten completely out of hand.
Maybe it was you, just heard. Nothing worse than an angry teenager, I always say.
Really, absolutely nothing worse.
Except for a money hungry church treasurer.
Leave Grandpa Earl out of this.
No one mentioned Grandpa Early Bird.
Or maybe it was Victorious.
Me? Where did you get such a ridiculous idea?
Well, first of all, what is in the envelope in your hand?
It's my final piece of evidence.
Evidence?
You have actual evidence?
Wait a minute. How do we know you're not trying to frame one of us?
Yeah, I ain't sure I trust you.
You are a little peculiar.
And I think you're just trying to turn us all against each other.
I'm the Mormon delivery man.
You know what? I say we see what's in the envelope. Get him!
conclude the mystery. Kitty Barb, what was that about? As I have already stated, I have the final piece of evidence, and now it's time for you all to prove that you're not the thief. Anyone want to go first? How about you, Jess Churd?
Okay, fine. First of all, let me say that I'm so totally offended over the lack of drama in our church's ministry. I mean, when did music become the only art form that can be used to glorify God?
Oh, get over it already.
That being said, I did not steal the church's grand piano.
But there was no hiding your anger whenever there wasn't any drama in the classical Christmas musical.
I admit in my angry moments, I thought about stealing it, or maybe even smashing it. Whatever you do, don't faint. So I certainly wanted to see drama in the Christmas production. But to accomplish that by illegal means, well, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, then where were you when the piano disappeared?
I was at my high school theater rehearsal and spent the evening with about 12 or so of my friends who can all account for my whereabouts. Let me just say that I am so sorry for my bad attitude during this whole thing. But I absolutely did not steal the church's antique grand piano.
Clearly that's the case, Jess. But you must admit, you definitely have motive and opportunity. And the version of your events, I can confirm in this piece of evidence. Anyone else have something to say? How about you, Antiquity?
Okay, well, first of all, you all should know that I just arrived from Redwood Falls this morning. I was visiting my ill aunt. Several family members and friends can vouch for my whereabouts. A likely story.
Careful, she might faint.
Okay, I understand that because I'm an antique dealer, one might assume that I would want the piano. And then to add the fact that my great-grandfather was the original owner of that beautiful antique, so I became a prime suspect.
And who exactly is this Earl E. Bird?
Yeah, how do we know he's not completely fictional?
Oh, he is real all right. The truth is that my late grandfather, well, he wasn't who everyone thought he was. And Grandpa Birdie, I mean, that's what we called him, well, he was as useful as a steering wheel on a mule.
She is so dramatic.
And so not Southern. I'm getting to that. My great-grandfather, well, he was a lazy man, and he brought great dishonor to our family by marrying a Northerner. Oh, my gravy, yes, it's true. It's why none of y'all know my true Southern heritage. I mean, that's why I didn't want to bring his name into this. Grandpa Birdie made me a Yankee.
Well, there's that. I didn't do it, and apparently Rebecca of Fanning Brook Farms didn't either. Any other guesses?
Well, that rules out Jess Churd and Miss Antiquity. Surely someone has something to say.
Well, it wasn't me, that's for sure.
Well, it definitely wasn't me either. And first of all, I drive for LDS, not an actual model.
What?
It's true, Jess. My job with the company takes me all over the county. And I was definitely working the day that the piano disappeared.
Ha, I knew it. He did it.
I had actually been at this church that day, but the doors were locked and I couldn't get in. Most businesses and organizations closed early that day because that was the night of the Pine Valley Christmas Parade. And this church was no exception. So yeah, my truck was still pretty heavy on that day.
I told you, he had the piano in there.
No, but that's the reason why. All businesses and organizations were closed at lunchtime. So I still had everybody's delivery from that day because everybody closed. And actually, the heaviest item on my truck that day was a brand new keyboard for my church.
Sure it was. A likely story.
It's true. He didn't know that till about 5 minutes ago. His pastor actually sent him a text message asking if he could do a late night delivery so that his church could have it in time for their Christian extravaganza.
I thought we had it.
Sorry, Pastor Sutton, but I'm not the one who stole your precious grand piano.
Well, do any of you think I did this? What, because I took out an insurance policy on the piano?
I mean, that is pretty suspicious.
Well, there's no denying that, and I've never attempted to do so. No one loves the classical Christmas musical more than I do.
Pardon me?
Okay, you do as well. I wanted to protect the event for years to come, and I'm worried about it. Through the years and 47 different pastors, there have been a lot of voices trying to take away the piano and the Christmas musical. It was clear that tensions were running high as Christmas approached.
Well, you know that's true. Everything was pretty tense.
You people are seriously intense about your Christmas music.
Exactly. And rather than wait for a potential disaster, I acted impulsively and purchased a policy. That does not make me a piano thief. And as I said before, I was running errands all day yesterday and yesterday afternoon. And several local establishments can verify that.
But what about after that?
I went back to my apartment complex and I stayed there for the rest of the night. If I would have left, the security people would have got it on camera. And I assure you, I did not leave. Therefore, I did not steal the piano.
This is true. I can confirm your version of events as well. And this evidence proves your story. Anyone else have something to say?
What about you, Pastor Oliver Sutton?
So you think God did this? Now my family, we left Wyoming, and we did so and serve Pine Valley community.
And what about your wife's piano?
Yeah, that sounds pretty sketchy to me.
Well, it's true. My wife loved that piano. We had to leave it there in the move. And I love my wife very much. And that piano was so therapeutic for her. But see, what y'all don't know is that we would come here early in the mornings, and she would sit right there at that piano and play her favorite hymns. Now, it was just about 2 days ago that me and my family, we gathered around that beautiful piano, and we played Christmas carols.
And what does that prove?
Well, that proves that I had no immediate need to replace that piano. She was happy just the way things were.
So go ahead and tell us about your alibi, Pastor Sutton.
Well, see, yesterday I went to Oak City with a couple of other clergymen, and they could verify where I was at the whole time. Now, see, I was trying to tell you all that the whole time, but none of y'all would let me finish my statements. So, by now, Detective Vic, I am not your man, and I did not steal that piano.
This is true. I actually talked to one of those clergy friends myself. So I know that's true.
The plot is thickening. The tension is building. Sorry, go on, Vic.
So that leaves one. Care to explain, Barb Dwyer?
Stop staring at me. All right, I did it. I took the piano. But not for the reasons that you may think. I tried to convince you all that I'm your secretary, Barb Dwyer. But actually, I'm her twin sister.
You ain't Bob?
No, my married name is Philistine, and I've been impersonating Barb for over a year.
Over a year?
In actuality, Barb never played the piano. I made that whole story up. Barb was the good girl, the churchgoer, the goody two-shoes, and Mom and Dad's favorite. Meanwhile, I spent time trying to learn how to play the piano. I spent most of my life just actually wishing that I could be Barb. And when she decided to resign from Pine Valley Church, I took my chance to do just that. I simply intercepted her resignation letter.
But how did you do that?
I was visiting from Vermont, and I told Barb that I would mail in the letter for her. And then I convinced her she should go ahead and leave early to her new retirement village in Miami Beach as soon as possible, saving all the emotion of a goodbye.
So, Barb Dwyer is actually in Miami Beach?
Oh, this is so sinister. I love it.
I miss Barb. Anyway, she thought the church received the letter, but in fact, no one ever saw it. During my visit from Vermont, Barb actually said something that had me putting this whole plan into motion. She said I should come take a look at the church's piano, being a piano player and all, and that the accompanist said the high B flat he was sticking.
You know it's true, it did.
Well, I came in one day when only Barb was here and took a look at it. I was stunned at what I saw. Attached to the high B flat hammer was an 1891 U.S. red seal $1,000 bill. That bill was worth $2.5 million.
$2.5 million?
Well, that's a twist.
Yeah, one of the most expensive banknotes ever sold. The plan was to steal the piano, get it a rare bill, somehow pin it on Barb, and move to Greenland. But I knew by the way Victorious looked at me when I mentioned I had a twin sister, he started piecing it all together. There went my chance to be a millionaire.
A millionaire?
The church piano is still in my trailer that I tow with my 1958 Plymouth Fury. Well, detective, feel free to take me in.
Wait, so what's in the envelope?
Well, it's actually the resignation that the real Barbed Wire wrote. When I thought it was her evil twin sister, I started looking for clues. And I found this very letter taped underneath one of the desk drawers in her office. Sometimes criminals like to hold on to certain pieces of evidence. And speaking of trailers, I was almost certain that's where you had stashed the piano, so I actually let the air out of the tires. Well, Philistine, this is the end of the road for you. Posing as your twin sister Barbed Wire is the end of the road.
You know, wait a minute, there, Vic. If Miss Barbed Wire or Philistine or whoever this may be still has our priceless piano and we can get it back, then wouldn't it be easier just to drop all the charges? I mean, we can all go get our piano back in time for the musical, and you know, it's a shame that we think that we focus more on why we can't have a musical than why we have it anyway. You know? And then I think we all forgot the true meaning of Christmas, and the pointing the finger at one another is just as bad as stealing a priceless piano. I think we'd all like to invite you to join us, and you can play that grand piano as we celebrate this Christmas season. I personally would like to welcome you to Pine Valley Church.
Why are you crying?
He doesn't even go
Well, folks, I guess that does it. Pine Valley Church's financial worries are over. Save your money? The church now has $2.5 million. Once again, Detective Victorious solves another one. It's like that time about 2 years ago that I had a case involving a piano. The criminal threw it into a mine shaft. The only thing that come out of that was a flat minor.
True story.
Well, folks, let's hear it for our folks here in Pine Valley. I hope you've enjoyed your time here tonight. So for me, Carmen Go, and everyone here in Pine Valley, have a wonderful Christmas. Now, if we could, let's all sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" before we leave tonight. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good times.